Welcome to Chapter Sass, the podcast where we deep dive into the books that make you blush, gasp, and maybe even think a little. I'm your host, Season, and with every book, I'll be joined with a new co-host with their own hot take. From spicy romances to messy love triangles and all the glorious chaos in between, we're here with a fresh perspective to unpack the stories we love, question what we think we know, and explore how the book speaks to us. Things might even get a little sassy. This episode is rated mature and will contain spoilers. Let's get into the first chapter. Welcome back, everyone. We're going to cover all the books of Agatar before the October 27th book release date. And don't know if any of you guys know, but Bloomsbury dropped some interesting stuff yesterday. Spoiler if you haven't seen it, but it's everywhere on social media. But they dropped like a hosting guide, and it's looking like we're visiting the Autumn Court. So, book 6, Autumn Court theories and stuff, but all the food is like related to the Autumn Court / Shadow Singer. So I think Asriel at some point is going to be in there.
Finally.
Yes. Well, one of the drinks is called the Shadow Singer Spritz.
Yeah, Asriel's definitely gonna die.
I
think Cassian's gonna die.
I agree. I have another evidence of why I think Cassian's gonna die. I do have another evidence.
I'm very excited.
All right. If you like slightly dramatic recaps, unhinged theories, and some foul language, and knowing I won't say a single name correctly, then you're in the right place. Make sure to subscribe and like this episode. Today, we're going to cover the third book in the Agatar series, A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas, and we're going to cover 66 to the end of the book, chapter 82. We'll do a high-level overview of designated chapters. And then, of course, at the end of every episode, we're going to go ahead and have our sassy topic. This episode will contain spoilers and will have mature content. Let's meet our co-host. Andria, how are you?
Hi, guys. Hi, friends. How's it going? Oh, my gosh. You can see my giant cart of drinks. That's so embarrassing.
We just see your giant guns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I am jealous of those.
Here a delay.
I'm going to have to get back into my bar workouts. Mm-hmm.
No, I'm cool. I'm fine.
Okay. What are you drinking?
Well, I outed myself because you guys, when I don't finish a drink, I'm too lazy to go put it back in the fridge. So I go grab another cold one. So I have 2 of these peach nectarines because my husband told me I have to finish them. And then I have
solid day, girl.
this tea lemonade and then water because it's humid and apparently you're supposed to stay hydrated. And then I have my emotional support lifesaver nummies because when we start talking about stuff that gives me anxiety, that's my anxiety. Food.
Fair. Hi, Johnny and Derek. What are you drinking?
Okay, my anxiety chewing thing is an entire fucking chicken.
Love
with olives and pickles.
I love it.
In a bloody. Did you call yours a bloody?
Amaranth.
I called mine a bloody Amaranth because that's what the book said. I love it. Drinking a bloody Amaranth.
Yeah.
Woo.
This is a Puerto Rican bloody Amaranth, apparently, with the fried chicken.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
Larger version.
This thing.
God.
All right. Love it. Johnny, you weren't here last week. How was Puerto Rico? We missed you.
I missed you so much. I missed reality so much. You have no idea. But it was beautiful. I just like to have like my schedule back, you know?
That's fair. That is fair. All right. I had a decent week too. Nothing super fantastic. I've started drinking this. There is cinnamon stick somewhere in here, but it fell. But I am drinking the Bloody Amaranth, and I got it from this book, A Feast of Thorn and Roses. And if we look really quickly, that is the Bloody Amaranth.
Pretty.
See, Bloody Amaranth. This is it. And I thought it was appropriate because, spoiler, Amaranth shouldn't have died. She didn't, but she should have. We're just going to go ahead and acknowledge her. Cheers.
The way I feel about Amaranth as like a character on a reread is she's real adjacent to some people in Crescent City that I didn't care for.
Oh, I can't wait. I have started Crescent City.
Yeah.
I've started.
Did you guys start Crescent City yet or not yet? I know season started.
I have not. But I promise that I will by Saturday.
Okay, well, just so you know, in that guide that we were talking about earlier, that Bloomsbury dropped for Agatar 6, one of the questions is about Bryce and like Prithian. So she clearly is important. Just saying. Okay. So
and everybody is
really,
saying, "Oh, you don't need to read Crescent City, but learn Crescent 6." Yeah, you can't say that. If you haven't read Crescent City, how you gonna say you don't need to read it? You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
So I do think you have to read Crescent City. All right, let's get into the next chapter. Really quickly, a recap. Okay, I try to be funny, try to bring reality TV into this. I was going to do like all Taylor Swift songs, and I said, you know what, I'm going to save that for Nessa's book. Okay, so let's see.
You could not do that. You could like not.
You could save that. You could table it and just leave it on the table. You could shelf it in your TBR section.
Oh, how funny are we? I won't be doing that, but I'm so glad that you guys have that mentality. So, really quickly,
I'm going to put it in my DNF.
Yeah.
Okay. A Court of Wings and Ruin starts off with Freya starring in the most dramatic season of fantasy reality TV, beginning with her undercover stunt in the Spring Court. She pretends to be sweet and broken while she's secretly planning Tamlin's downfall, like she's auditioning for the Traitors Prithian's edition. Spoiler alert, she doesn't get the role of a faithful. Instantly adds green velvet cloak to her shopping. Then Lucian, wait, have you guys seen the Traitors?
What's happening?
That was niche as fuck. And
What is it?
I appreciate niche.
What's a traitor?
Oh my God. It is this show. It is so good. After you're done with this, go see. You guys are gonna. It is so good. So there's a UK season, there's like a Canada season, there's a US season. So, but they all stay in like the same castle in, I think, Scotland. Each country has like their own, but they all stay like in the same place. And it's pretty much like mafia or whatnot. And so there are 3 people who are randomly chosen to be the traitors. Everyone else is the faithful. Only the traitors know who the traitors are, and the faithfuls have to try to get the traitors out. And by the end of the reality TV show, so the last episode, if there's any traitor left who was able to convince everyone that they were a faithful, they take the whole bucket of money. And if all the faithfuls figure out who the traitors are throughout the show and vote them off, then they split the bucket of money. Now, and then they have to do challenges in between, and these challenges are specifically made to like call out traitors or call out faithfuls. So like you should be paying attention to it. And then it gets like, and it's great because then I think his name is Alan Cummings or whatever. He's so dramatic and he's just like, and he's always wearing like this couture like outfit when he comes. The American season is great.
I love
Then I would say
him.
do the UK season. He's like, trust me, you're going to love this show. Go see it. But anyways, Feyre instantly adds green velvet cloak to her shopping cart. I also almost auditioned.
Hang on.
Cheers, Andrea. Cheers, Andrea. I know you caught it.
What did I say?
I missed it.
What did I say? I know.
I was stuffing my face.
Now that you'll find out.
You can't scoot on past Alan Cummings when he comes.
Oh, he's great.
I love
When he comes.
He is great.
And you just said it just like, so, like, come on, you get it. And you just scooted on past it like,
I did.
Like it was in your script. Meanwhile, this is on the fly.
You guys are dirty. You guys are dirty.
Not on purpose. It's just like it
We're all
comes
dirty
out.
on this.
My angelic brain did not pick it up because I'm a saint.
Mine normally does it, but you know.
Yeah. Okay. So next, because she added her green cloak to her shopping cart. Then Lucian and Feyre are on the run, which is basically a level in the Oregon Trail. What will kill them next? Lack of food, freezing conditions, or some murderous brothers? Who knows? Dysentery, typhoid fever ain't got nothing on them. Feyre reunites with Rhys in the inner circle. Then she's off to see her sisters. Nessa's collecting grudges. Elaine is quietly dropping visions while everyone thinks she is going crazy.
Lucian realizes he's probably going to get voted off the island soon since he hasn't contributed to anything, or so we think, and volunteers to find the cursed Queen Vasa. The Dreamers do not have the numbers to defeat the Hybern army. Feyre is out on the hunt for creatures. Bryaxis will help only if it gets a window. Bone Carver is like, peace, I am out. This means the High Lords meetings need to be called. This meeting is pretty much an episode of The Office. Pretty much everyone is just awkward and ridiculous shit continues to be said. The wall comes down and now it's time for battle. The Dreamers are barely winning. Feyre decides it's time for some tea and finds the cereal, who tells Feyre all she needs to know to win, but then in the process dies. And it's a sad R.I.P.
No,
Elaine's ex-fiance tells her she's pretty.
It's killed.
And dies. But yes, you are correct. Correct. Elaine's ex-fiance tells her she's pretty, but it ain't happening, but vows to protect the humans. Devastated Elaine walks out of the Dreamers camp and is kidnapped by Hybern. Did someone say silver platter? Because that's exactly what Elaine did. She handed herself over on a silver fucking platter. Feyre channels her inner Arya Stark when she's training with the Faceless Man and steals Ianthe's face and walks into Hybern's camp with Azriel as her shadow. After a very traumatic night that many could have said could be avoided, Elaine is rescued and the sisters are reunited. Let's get into the next chapter, y'all. Chapter 66. So it's the next day after the sisters end up cuddling. Feyre gets up and realizes that Tamlin's actions actually protected her and protected Jurian's betrayal. Tamlin was trying to be a spy on the behalf of the Dreamers, and so she also knows that, like, she's never seen this wind power that Tamlin's had. Then Feyre says, and I quote, "The Nephel philosophy, indeed, the weakness had been transferred into strength. Had it not been my wings for my flying, but Tamlin had interfered, and it was that wind that allowed her to jump." So her weakness became a strength, but also because of Tamlin. So that is great. Next, Feyre also thinks of Azriel, and I'm quoting for the book. "I don't know how Azriel managed to stay aloft and stay conscious during those minutes in the sky. I didn't let myself think about how or when he learned to manage a pain like that. And so I know we don't get male perspectives often, and we talked about that like last week, but I do hope if whether it's Moore's book or Elaine's book, that we do at least get 1 or 2 chapters of Azriel, because I would love to know more about his childhood from his point of view, because I think that's important in how he handles pain and how he's able to control shadows, because no other Illyrian can control shadows. While walking around the camp, the Winter Court is whittling in their troops, and it's noted that they have lesser fairies. And this is the army that Vivian controlled while Callias was under the mountain with Amarantha. Next, Feyre notices that the human girl is now with Vivian, and Moore is pretty much like, "Oh, I gave her to the Winter Court because she probably was going to have a better time with an grouchy freaking Illyrian." So I was like, I get that. But during this time, Feyre remembers the fight that she had with Moore. Then Moore, after they're done, Moore explains that Azriel's alive, but his wings need to heal. More on that later, because he doesn't like to heal all the way and he wants to be in a war, but we'll get back. Then Moore and Feyre walk away and they apologize to each other, and then Moore drops her a big secret. Moore explains that she does not love Azriel as a lover. She loves him more like a brother or a member of the family, and the reason that she does not love Azriel is because she prefers women or females. Specifically, she says females, so I guess we're not saying women. But she can get off on a man, aka why she could be with Helion and whatnot, but she just prefers a woman, and her heart will always be true to a woman/female. And she's known this since she was young, but her family in the Hume City, it's all about power and bloodlines. And so she comes from a very powerful family. She is one of the most powerful people in her family, and she knows that she will never be able to have children. And so that is considered being selfish. And so she just never wanted to, like, her family would never allow it. So she's just like never told her family like what she prefers. But then when Moore was betrothed to Eris, Moore says, and I quote, "It wasn't just the prospect of marriage to him that scared me. No, I knew I could survive his brutality, his cruelty, and his coldness. I'm stronger than him. It was the idea of being bred like a prize mare and being forced to give up a part of me. Sleeping with Cassian was her way out, so she knew The engagement would probably be called off because she would be sullied, but Moore knew that Azriel loved her and Cassian would be able to walk away versus Azriel wouldn't be able to walk away. Moore refuses to let her family take this part of her or destroy it. She does love it while she keeps it a secret. She does love this part of her. And so Moore sleeps with men because she, again, can get off on it, but more importantly, it stops people from asking questions. During the war, Moore took her first female lover, or rather lovers. She got her freak on with Nefel and her now wife, and Moore was jealous about what they had because she would never be able to have that, but she also was jealous because they lived amongst people that allowed them to be different, to be accepted. And so during the war, Moore took another lover, a queen, not even going to attempt to pronounce her name. It was one of the human queens. It is also very important for the human queens to continue their line. And so after the last battle, Moore left. But then right after that, the wall went up and Moore regrets leaving. It took 3 years to be able to find a hole in the wall so she can even go see the queen. Finally, when she crossed, the queen had married, had one child, another child on the way. The queen did ultimately die of old age, and Moore saw her again in the young golden queen that was killed by the adder because that was her descendants. So in Valaris, there is a safe haven for people like Moore, and I guess Helion, because Helion doesn't care what you are. As long as you have a hole, he's, I think, good. The owner of this place is Rita. I think we will get more on this in Moore's book, because I do think that's going to be more characters development if we ever get Moore's book. Then Feyre asks, does Azriel know or does he suspect? And Moore says, maybe. I don't know. He's too observant not to, but I think it confuses him whenever I take a male home. And she realizes that she does have to be truthful with the others and she does need to tell them. And I didn't really pay attention to her character in Silver Flames, but I'm going to see if there were hints of her trying to come out more. But because I'm going to be honest, in Silver Flame, if it wasn't Cassian or Nesta on the page, then I didn't really care. And then after that was Emery, Gwen, I could have cared less about Feyre's problem or Rhysand's problem.
She did not exist to me in that book.
Yeah. So I will say while we're reading this again, I am going to pay more attention to Moore because there was one time though, because Andrea, you're the one who said you want Emery and Moore together. I think there was one time when Moore went to go get Emery because she can't widow or fly. So I'm just going to pay attention to more and more when we reread Silver Flames.
And I'm going to tell you right now, the reason that I want them together is because of that singular moment. There's no other reason. That's enough tension and yearning for me to be ship them.
I love it. So really quickly, I know that Moore thinks no one knows, but I think Eris knows. The reason why I think Eris knows because he said he would have treated her well. They would have had a good life. I think he knows. I also think he swings both ways, but that's my personal whatever. I think he knows. Amrit fucking knows because literally 5 chapters ago, she was to Feyre, you better be careful what you tell her, girl. She's still battling truth. She hasn't even acknowledged herself. So Amrit clearly knows. I feel there's no way Rhys doesn't know. And I think Azriel does know, but he's just oh, again, he has shadows. There's no way he doesn't know. I just think he's willing to accept her for whatever,
The closet is glass. The closet is glass.
Yes.
Home.
Yeah. I think the only person in the inner circle who doesn't know is Cassie, and I think he's going to be the most shocked whenever she comes out. And it's going to be oh no. At this point, I think Nesta knows because she's been through all the taverns and Silver Flame. So I think at this point, Nesta knows. And I think Elaine knows also because she's a seer. So I think the only person who doesn't know is Cassian. And Feyre ends the convo with, I can't wait to play matchmaker with you once you tell everyone. So back to Andrea's point, hopefully she'll play matchmaker with Emery. Feyre continues around the camp. Amrit is trying to figure out what the serial said and is locked away in her tent and is not entertaining any visitors. Back at the war camp, we learned that Hybern is moving his army again, and how he's moving his army doesn't necessarily make sense. And then Cassian figures out what Hybern is doing. Hybern is trying to exhaust all the members of the Dreamer team or side because Hybern's army is bigger than them. And if they continue to whittle or win all these small battles, they know that when the big battle comes along, they will be burnt out. But Hybern is heading to the human lands. So the obvious next question is, what about the humans? And some High Lords are like, don't waste the energy fighting on behalf of the humans, because they also realize what Hybrid's trying to do and is trying to make them waste all their energy and their power. Feyre gives them a piece of her mind, and she says, and I quote, "It's no waste. One life can change the world. Where would you all be if someone hadn't deemed saving my life a waste of time?" And she pointed to Rhys, and she said, "What would you be if he deemed saving my life under the mountain a waste of time? Even if it's only 20 families or 10, they are not a waste, not for me or for you." And she is correct on that, because they were saved by a human at the end of the day. So Amren walks in, says she figured out how to stop Hybrid in the army. They need this next battle as a distraction to get Amren, Feyre, Nesta, and Elaine to the cauldron, so all the ones that are made. Amren found the spell that would nullify the host of the cauldron, aka Hybern. But now Feyre's like, well, last time I did this, the cauldron almost killed me. And they're thinking now that there's 4 of them, it could be possible. So it is decided whoever can whittle will whittle to the human lands. And then they will take them all to the summer court, because Valaris is way too far. Everyone starts whittling one family at a time. They do it all night. They are pretty much all out of power, but once they are done, they have like a city worth of humans. Rhys is exhausted and passes out the second he gets like back to the tent. But Feyre saw how big Hybern's army was, like when she like saw the vision through Nesta and then went to go get Elaine back. So they need more than Bryaxis, especially now that the Dreamers are on E. So she's like, okay, I gotta do this. So Feyre uses the last of her magic to whittle to the Court of Nightmares, to the Ouroboros, the Mirror of Beginnings and Ending. Feyre remembers what the Suriel told her: only you can decide what breaks you. Cursebreaker. Feyre approaches the mirror and only sees herself. There's like snow around and she's cold, but again, she only sees herself. And then she sees something moving in the corner, and it's like a beast crawling in the snow. And then the beast pounces, and Feyre is ready. She has her Larian blade out, and then she goes to slash it, but there's nothing there to stab. And then Feyre looks again in the mirror, and she sees the beast standing instead of her reflection. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Feyre enters the bone carver's cell with the Ouroboros. The bone carver asks, what does she see? Feyre is like, none of your business. But to herself, she says she saw herself, all the sides of her, the good, the bad, the ugly. The bone carver tells Feyre she passed the test. He has no need for the mirror, but he wasn't going to leave himself or anything for anyone unless they were worthy. And so Feyre is now deemed worthy. The next morning, as the Dreamers march on, they see all the damage that Hybern has done as they like pass through it. And the damage is like from the Spring Court all the way to the Artron estate, which is now in ruins. Nesta and Feyre change into Illyrian leathers, but Elaine can't wear anything so revealing, like, oh my God. God forbid my tit shows a little bit, but Elaine is not there. So she decides that the heavy winter clothing is better. Go ahead.
Do you think that she potentially has a bargain with someone that we were not, it's not on the page, and so she's covering it up?
Ooh, I love that.
No, but I love this theory. Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
Yours is way funnier.
Oh my God, I love that.
But we witnessed...
but this is... Is this after she's been retrieved from the camp? Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then I'm picking up what you're putting down.
It's just we've witnessed on the page when Feyre had a like they took the wrong glove off. You know what I'm saying? But it's so crazy that specifically they're calling out that she doesn't want to be revealing. Meanwhile, she was the first of them to be engaged.
And she got freaky with it too. Because we find that out in Silver Flames. I thought she was a virgin, but she wasn't.
I wonder if she's
I love that.
I wonder if she got a bargain that's tattooed on her. Because we then, like a little bit later, we get the, go ahead.
Oh, I love that.
It's a little unhinged, but...
Nope, unhinged, but I love it.
I love it.
So she puts on the winter courts, like heavy fighting leathers instead. Cassian offers Elaine a knife to defend herself, but she refuses it. Then Azriel appears and gives Elaine Truth Teller, and Azriel tells Elaine that Truth Teller has never failed him, and some people say it's magic and will always strike true. Elaine accepts it.
You guys.
Tell us.
Are we shipping Elaine and Azriel?
I've been since the first book, but we even knew them as characters.
I hate it.
I've been telling y'all, I ship Azriel and Elaine the whole time.
I hate it.
No.
Truth Teller is significant. Yeah, Truth Teller is significant in Crescent City also.
But I also wonder, though, if Elaine used her powers at this point and she knew, like, she can't see everything because the Hybrid is using the cauldron, but technically his death is away from the cauldron. So I'm wondering if she saw whether it was her or somebody with Truth Teller and doing that's why she accepted it. Because she is a seer.
Also,
Like,
yeah. Outside of everything, all the evidence and stuff, I understand why people ship those two, but how tacky would it be to ship all the sisters with all the bad boys? Ew.
It's very generic.
that
I
is,
don't like that.
she's gonna end up with Lucian. They're gonna be endgame. Now, is she gonna fuck around with
They're
Azrael?
not.
Maybe.
Because
But
this
Lucian
man
or
ain't been
Azrael
on
are
the
as-
page. He ain't been on the
He's
page
gonna die.
in 300 pages, and I haven't lost not a wink of sleep.
Nope.
Filler ass character.
Nope.
Awful.
Filler
Right.
asshole.
Okay. Now let's talk about
Okay.
Azrael. He is not healed yet. Reese has grounded him, but Azrael's like, fuck that. I want to fight. So it comes to the point where Moore has to beg Azrael to not fight and just be the eyes and ears that like the army need. And so he finally agrees because Moore came in and was like, you're too hurt to fight. This may be the last time they're all together, and Reese gives his speech, and it's an inspiring one. And so I kind of quoted what he says to each person, because obviously the one that he says to Feyre is like the most one of the more famous lines. But then he says, if I had not met an Illyrian warrior in training, he says to Cassian, I would have not known the true depths of strength and resilience of honor and loyalty. Reese looks to Azrael and says, if I had not met a shadow singer, I would not have known it is the family you make, not the one you are born into, that matters. I would not have known that it is truly hope, even when the world tells you to despair. Reese looks to Moore. If I had not met my cousin, I would have never have learned that light can be found even in the darkest of hells, that kindness can strive even amongst cruelty. Reese looks to Amryn and says, if I had not met the tiny little monster who hoards jewels more fiercely than a fire drake, my own power would have consumed me long ago. If I had not met my mates, I would have waited 500 years more for you, 1,000 years. And if this was all the time that we were allowed to have, the wait would have been worth it. I believe that everything happened exactly the way it had to, so I could find you. Aww. And then Reese turns to Nessa and Elaine. If we have not known each other long, but I do believe that you were brought here into our family for a reason. And maybe one day we'll find out why. They link hands in a little circle, and now it's time to face Hybern. And Hybern shows his spot well. He is like perched on top of a hill so he can see everyone coming. The sea is behind him for when his like armada comes. And so it is such a disadvantage for like the dreamers to go through. But the final battle is about to take place. And guys, these are great chapters. Such great chapters. I encourage you to read them because they go in such great detail. But if I went
And the
into great
chapters
detail,
are great.
yeah, they are great. I'm not disagreeing with that. But if I went into detail, we would be here for the next 2 hours, and I'm not trying to be here for the next 2 hours. I know you're not trying to be here for the next 2 hours. So I am only going to cover what I think is important of any major character, aka Cassian, Amryn, stuff like that. Anything else, just go read the book. Is what I'm gonna have to say. Like, I mean, I touch on like a little bit other characters, but it was literally like 150 pages of battle. Like, don't
It's
have time for
high
that.
level for a reason.
Yeah, high level. Yeah, high level. So the Dreamers are ready. They're there with High Lords, Lesser Fairies, Illyrians, Peregrines, and they are ready to fight. Magic will be used first because both sides have their shield, and so both sides are going to try to bring down their shields. All the High Lords are using their powers except for Reese. He will blast through. Once the shield comes down, he'll go ahead and blast through to Hybrid side. While everyone waits for the shield to come down, Feyre tells Reese she got his mating present. Hybrid's shield comes down, and then Feyre reveals the Bone Carver and Baraxis, and she was hiding them with her glamour. Now, before I continue, just a little pause. The book says that they were all so exhausted that they had no power because they widowed all these humans. Feyre has enough juice to glamour these people, to glamour these two things for God knows how long they were standing there. She supposedly had nothing left, and then she whittled her ass to the Night Court. Then she even exhausted herself even more fighting her own self in the mirror, but whatever. Then she whittled her way to the bottom of the prison, and then she has to hike her ass up there because remember, you can't like whittle literally inside the actual prison. But so that's what, like another 2 hours she has to like hike and is exhausted. Gets into the bone carver cell. Then she does happen to use magic to whittle in the Ouroboros. Then she gets the bone carver. Then she has to like use the words and shit to like remove it so the bone carver can leave. Then she has to walk the 2 hours back down and then whittle all the way back to the camp. I'm just saying, I don't know how much, I don't understand how she has all this glamour. Enough to glamour?
Yeah.
When Reese...
2 words. Plot armor.
Okay. Love it. Plot
You know what?
armor.
I didn't even put it together that it would have taken her X amount of time because it was moving so quickly, you know. But damn, for real.
Like she didn't sleep. Like she technically almost never slept. Like to me, it sounds like she's been up all night. When did she recharge her powers for the plot?
Between chapters.
For the plot.
Yeah.
Feyre was supposed to, the book is like, they were all exhausted. Reese was so exhausted he like passed out. Feyre barely had enough juice to make it to the night court. Not only does she make it to the night court, but she fights herself. Then she makes it to the prison where you can't whittle into the prison. And like, then she has all this power and she's been glamoring Bryaxis and the bone carver this whole time while the war's going on. I'm like, you haven't slept. How you got all this juice?
Great point to this. You know, she went from I can't pick lever 1 and 2, but I should pick 2 because me and Reese gonna be together, to I can complete an entire story mission in less than 5 hours successfully and have the energy to still do what she got to do at the end of the book. You make an excellent point.
Yes.
You know what? That fairy dick is magical, apparently.
Yeah.
Magic glory indeed.
Magic glory.
Indeed,
Yes.
indeed.
So clearly this is for the plot that Feyre has all this juice and power that she shouldn't be having. But anyways, Feyre removes the glamour and then Reese is like, oh, I have a gift for you too. And then the Weaver or Striga, it appears. And apparently Helion was there in the middle when he was like randomly there and he saved Feyre. He was there to work out a deal with her and remove the wards that kept her in her cottage. So now there are 3 creatures to the Dreamer side, and Hybern has, well, they have creatures, but they have 0 ancient creatures. And then Reese sends, the shield comes down, Reese sends his power, then Azra uses siphons, and they send magic. And then the Dreamers run into war, and it's like in 300 or something, it's like, done. Then the Cauldron Made ones are all waiting for the right moment to head towards the cauldron. And the king, and they need something to distract the king in order to do so. So then 3 more armies start approaching. And who is it? Oh my goodness. It's Baron, the Autumn Court. It's Tamlin, the Spring Court. And it's Grayson with Jurian, who has the humans. Apparently, Tamlin made Baron come, dragged the asshole literally out of his house. Reese's brothers whittle into battle, and then they're like, oh, well, what are they doing over there? And then all of a sudden, the brothers start whittling to the wagons that are in Hybern's territory or Hybern's part, and they destroy all the Fae Bane that's there. And this was information given to them courtesy of Jurian or Tamlin. The Weaver's job is to find the cauldron, and when she like is supposed to find the cauldron. She apparently can smell it, but she is to just make a path so that the ones who are made can go up that same path, and then she is to wait there until they show up. Then Nessa all of a sudden starts to feel sick. She's on the ground. Hybern is using the cauldron, and then all of a sudden Nessa is screaming for Cassian. Cassian heard her and now is flying towards her. Nessa's like about to throw her up, but then right when like Cassian kind of reach her, the cauldron throws its power and it hits exactly where Cassian's legion was, and they all die instantly. Hybern uses the cauldron again, and this time he hits the bone carver. R.I.P. bone carver. Now Azriel says he is done waiting on the sidelines. Oh, no. Oh.
What?
Remember how we talked about from Throne of Glass?
The
how I
Tesseract.
think that's
Oh.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
because it says that he smiled. It says,
He did smile.
just as that white light slammed into the bone carver, but the bone carver, I could have sworn he looked toward me as the cauldron's power crashed into him. Could have sworn he smiled, and it was not a hideous thing at all. There and gone.
Yes.
I've learned some things about the cauldron that I cannot
Crescent
tell
City.
you.
Well, I'm not at that book yet. I'm barely in the first one, but I'll get there, I promise.
But this, just like that phantom wind we were talking about, we would be foolish to not pay attention to that.
All right, paying attention. Cauldron, check. Back of the head. Tesseract, check.
Did you guys also peep? There was a second time that phantom wind was used near the end of the book too.
The only other wind that I got was when Papa Archeron.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. When he was like cremated or whatever.
Yeah.
Specifically, the term phantom wind was used again, and that was very. I don't know. It felt very intentional.
Yeah, I had that. We'll get there and let's chat.
Okay.
Because maybe that's the mother or whoever, spirit, whatever is here. That is important. Yeah. So Azrael says he is done waiting on the sidelines, and he pretty much tells Reese that no matter what, Reese can tie him to a tree. He's going to figure out how to fight. And so Reese is like, cool, I'll let you fight. It's, your wings, your funeral. So then they hear a horn, and now it is the rest of Hybern armies joining. Nessa is pretty much useless right now because the cauldron has been used twice, and she's like, wants to throw up on the side, being the side effect. Elaine is throwing up because she's scared for no other reason. Completely useless. Then there's another horn that blows, and Reese recognizes that sound. And so Cassian, Nessa, and Reese.
You know how Nessa gets a little sick when she feels the cauldron is going to use its power, and Elaine is feeling sick? Remember, the cauldron gave Elaine power. So what if every time the cauldron is used, it's giving Elaine more?
Oh, I love that because actually, Jadi, love that because I have some stuff highlighted because now that I'm reading this book about the cauldron is not speaking to Elaine, but when Feyre is part of the cauldron or whatever, there are 2 times the cauldron says something in favor of Elaine. So we will get back to that. I love that. Love it, love it, love it.
Yay.
Keep that in the back of your head. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. All right. There is another horn. It blows. Reese recognizes it, and he shoots up with Feyre into the sky, and then Nessa and Cassian in the sky. And who do they see? It is a sight to behold. It is an armada bigger than Hybern's. It is Draken's army and Miriam's people. And not only that, there's a whole separate armada that has joined them. And they are being led by Queen Vassa. Did Lucien find Vassa? No. He is on the boat, and he is sailing towards them, and he is ready to fight. But he is not. He joined Vassa's army later on. Leading Vassa's army is the Prince of Merchants with his 3 ships leading the way, and the 3 ships are named after his daughters.
The
Santa Maria. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
The only thing I had in my mind when I read that part.
That's definitely staying in. It's definitely staying in. So then there's the 3 ships named after his daughters, the Elaine, the Feyre, and in front leading the way is the Nessa with Papa Archeron. Papa A found out months ago that the queens were 2-faced bitches and had been were his travels to recruit his army. It is important and it's also important to note that Papa Archeron is sailing on the Nessa, the daughter that he had the most friction with. This is his way of saying sorry and that he loves her, right? Vassa's curse is not broken. Papa A was only able to make a deal with her keeper, the Dark Lord, to borrow her for a bit. And I would just also like to note that as I wrote this sentence, it is completely fucked up because did we free the woman? No, we're returning her right back to the person that she's being held captive to. But hey, we're the plot.
I didn't even think about that.
We're the plot. Vassa is a firebird, and she comes through, and she just starts burning all of Hybern's ships. And Amren is like, all right, Feyre girl, we got to leave now. This is a great distraction. Then Nesta's like, wait, use me as bait, because even if they get there, the king is still next to the cauldron. So the king will use the cauldron again, but if the king thinks Nesta is going to use the power of the cauldron, then he will come running, and Cassian will stay back to guard her. And this is just the best way to get the king away from the cauldron. And Rhys is not down for the plan, but Cassian reminds Rhys that this is the best plan that they have, and Rhys has suffered for 50 years, and now it's their turn. And Cassian says, and I quote, "I never got to repay your mother for the kindness. Let me do it this way. Let me buy you time." So Nessa tells her sisters to tell their father that to say thank you. And pretty much like Cassian and Nessa kind of say like their goodbyes to everyone, like they're ready to die. Like they both don't think that they're going to come back after this. And then Feyre says, he may survive this. And Rhys says, no, he won't. And this is the second time in this book that there's a death omen for Cassian, and he does not die. So I do think this is foreshadowing. I do think this is foreshadowing. This is the second death omen Cassian has gotten in this.
Yes. And they've already
has said it, and Elaine's a seer, and now Rhys said it.
Yeah, so, that's fine.
Yeah,
he can get out of here. Whatever. He had his book. He did what he needed to do. See ya.
Exactly. You know, I'm okay with it.
Okay, Cassian is the teddy bear.
He's still gonna be around because of Nesta. She's gonna be on the veil. You know, like yeah.
She's gonna be around in the veil.
I
Veil's gonna be in her.
He's going to die when we least expect it.
Yep. And it's gonna be something stupid. It's gonna be something stupid too. It's not even gonna be like he's gonna like choke on like a grave.
Gonna choke.
Like it's gonna be something so dumb that kills him.
It's gonna be a hard squeeze.
Now
you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's gonna die. Lucian's not gonna die. Cassian's gonna die.
I do think so. Yeah.
What a way to die.
Take me out.
So Feyre and Amren head toward the cauldron. And again, Feyre is supposed to be out of juice, supposedly, but she's using her power to shield them, to essentially make them invisible. So again, she still has enough juice to do all of this stuff. The Weaver's job, as I said earlier, was to make a path towards the cauldron, and so far she's done a great job. So Striga's waiting for them, and when she can smell them and notice them, she starts heading that way again, and again, her job is to call out Hybern once she's close enough to him. But then all of a sudden, they're really close to the cauldron. Feyre feels power behind her. It's Nesta. Again, perfect distraction for the king. So the king walks up to Striga. In 2 seconds, some ancient god she is, because he just snaps her neck and then throws her body to the hound nagas and they eat her. So R.I.P. Striga, but damn, wish you could have died of. That's a terror. I don't know. I wish there was more to her death, but here we are.
Yeah, and I almost feel like she wanted to die via cauldron because the cauldron's not a real death.
Yeah, so there we go. But all we got right now is Bryaxis. So Bryaxis is the only smart one right now. Because Bonecarver took on the form of an Illyrian body. The Weaver, was looking like a woman with Ianthe's jewel. Bryaxis is the only one who stayed mist and is going through people. So Bryaxis was the only safe one at this point. This is their moment. Feyre and Amren reach the unguarded cauldron, and Feyre touches it and starts to spell. But then Amren is not doing with her, and she throws the book away. And Feyre's like, "Oh no, this bitch, this is a trap." And then Amren says, "I'm sorry, I lied to you." But Feyre can't let go of the cauldron. The cauldron is hunting for its power. It's hunting Nesta. And since Feyre is holding on to the cauldron, she kind of becomes one with the cauldron, and she sees everything that the cauldron sees. And so now she's on the battlefield. The Dreamers are losing. They are losing badly. So badly that Rhys transforms into the beast that he always keeps hidden. And then it says, and I quote, because I do think his beast form might be important, but it says, and I quote, "It was a thing of nightmares, nothing human or fey. It was a creature that lived in the black pits and only emerged at night to hunt and feast. The face. It was one of those creatures that had been carved into the rock of the court of nightmares. The one that made up his throne. The throne not only represented his power, but what lurked within him and his wings." Dun, dun, dun. Moral of the story, don't get on Rhys's bad side. Then turns out Helion got equally just as bad of a beast, and he comes out, and now they're team bros, and they're just fighting everybody that's there. Then the cauldron felt like Nessa's power again, and again, it's going towards her, meaning Feyre is also going towards her. Nessa and Cassian are like in this clearing and they're waiting. Nessa's power is like getting all riled up. The king whittles in front of her, but he is holding Papa Archeron with a sword to his throat. And Papa Archeron hasn't seen his daughter, so he doesn't know that they're Fae. So the king explains that, your children are Fae now. Papa Archeron tells Nesta, and I quote, "I loved you from the first moment I held you in my arms. I am so sorry, Nesta, my Nesta. I'm sorry for all of it." Nesta begs the king to let him go, and Hybern asks, will she give back everything she stole? And Nesta says yes. And then the king says, "Even if I carve it out of you." And Papa Archeron says, and I quote, "Don't you lay your filthy hands on my..." The king snaps his neck in front of him.
That was bogus. That was bogus.
Yeah.
Derek cried
multiple times.
several times, he said. Bendito.
This was because he finally became a father and he died. But,
Yeah, that's why I don't feel no type of way. I'm like, this is the absolute least you could fucking do for being incredibly useless your entire life. So,
I agree. I don't necessarily I feel happy. Like, I was sad when I first read this the first time that, like, he died because he was clearly trying to, like, fix the relationship. But it also took Tamlin's glamour to get money back and everything to, like, face it. So, like, when when you're supposed to have, like, your kids back no matter what or whatever, like, he didn't. So, I mean, I'm glad that he was doing what was right, but it took this for him to do what was right.
right.
Like,
The bare minimum is that you sacrifice yourself. Sorry,
Yeah.
bruh.
Yeah. So the king snaps his neck in front of Nessa. Nessa's power, like, stops because she's just looking at her father's dead body. Cassian runs towards the king, sends his, like, using all his siphons, and then he gets him towards, like, this forest part or whatever. And Cassian is going at him still. Nessa falls to her father's body, like, closes his eyes because his eyes were still open, and gives his father a kiss. Then when Nessa looks up, she's pulling all the cauldron's power again. Cassian at this point is like, he's down for the count. His wings are snapped in like 50 million places. He's bleeding. He pretty much is useless at this point now because the king has battered him up so well, and then angles her head as in an animalistic way, and she's like, "I'm going to kill you." They were still holding on to the cauldron. Nessa explodes and uses her powers, but the king whittles away and Nessa misses. And so now Nessa's drained, and Cassian now, like, tells her to go. But the king is like, "Oh, isn't this a familiar scene? You guys just did this and you guys lost last time." Nessa, like, kneels over Cassian, and she gets his Illyrian sword and she faces the king. But, like, since she refused all the training, she's pretty much useless with the sword. She is able to get the king a little closer to the trees, but the king disarms Nessa in like 2 seconds and smacks her across the face, bringing Nessa down. Cassian screams for her to the king. And again, he's pretty much like, "Weren't we already here?" Again, she has Nessa has, like, very little power left, but she is able to, like, get some power and, like, use it and, like, kind of, like, punch the king a little bit. So he is taken aback, but she runs to Cassian. He is too heavy for her to carry, but she will not leave him. Cassian is telling her to leave, and she is like, "No." The king is approaching. Cassian grabs Nessa's face and says, and I quote, this, when I read this the first time, did so much to my heart. Cassie says, and I quote, "I have no regrets in my life but this, that we did not have time, that I did not have time with you, Nesta." And he gives her a quick kiss. And he says, "I will find you again in the next world, in the next life. We will have that time, I promise." And I mean, I already knew they were mates, but, like, this, like, just solidified anything that I was ever doubting, like, a
Foreshadowing for
second.
sure.
Like, so good. There were just so many clues about this. Nessa uses her body to, like, cover Cassian, and then they have an understanding that if they're gonna go, they're gonna go together. Then the king comes up to them, and right as he's about to use his powers, he's like that, and he's like, and then there's a choking sound coming out of him, and Elaine walks out of the king's shadow, and she is stabbed truth teller into the king's neck, and she's like, "Don't you touch my sister." Thank God she finally did something.
Not my sister.
And then the book says, and I quote, and then the book says, and I quote, "The cauldron purred in Elaine's presence."
I
It's a good catch.
did not catch that, but that solidifies my theory.
There's another one in a little bit about the cauldron doing some more stuff. So the king falls to his knees. Nesta gets up, walks to the queen, and she doesn't twist the knife first. No. First, she twists the king's head all the way around and like truth teller, like essentially like cuts it. Then Nessa points her finger at him and she, twists because she pointed this finger at him before. And now she's like twisting truth teller with it. And then the king's head falls from the ground. Nessa picks up the head and holds it as if she's in a trance. And then Elaine calls out to her and she like snaps back and drops it. And then the cauldron thinks, and I am quoting, that's Elaine. Elaine had defended this thief, aka Nesta. Elaine, who it had gifted with such powers, found her so lovely it had wanted to give her something. It would not harm Elaine, even if its hunt to reclaim what was taken from it. It retreated that moment. Elaine's eyes fell on her father's dead body, and Elaine started to scream.
You guys.
Yep.
Elaine is not who we think she is. She's about to be the most powerful Archeron sister. That's all I have to say.
And to your point, she did walk out of that camp. She was like, I need to get back to the thing because he trying to give me something else.
So I'm saying, I've been saying this. I have been on this Elaine bandwagon since this book years ago, and people told me I was crazy.
Yeah.
So,
I
know. Not even this book. I was on the book when the first book, we were like, Elaine's kind of slow. What slow? This bitch is not slow. She's the smartest out of all y'all.
We're slow. Yeah. We're slow.
Yes.
Also,
yes.
Wouldn't Alan Cummings make a perfect King of Hybern?
Yeah.
No.
Yes. He's so like blasé.
Hey, you know
like
what?
that.
So
I
then
can
who would you
see it.
cast? Who would you
Only
cast? Who would
if
you
they, only if they fitted the King of Hybern in like couture outfits the whole time. Like his outfits have to
and
be the best.
He's dressed like, he's dressed like that. Or who else
then
would be
I
good?
could see it.
I don't know.
Then I could see it.
I don't know his name, but the guy who played the manager for the Spice Girls.
Oh, I don't know his name either, but yes.
For Spice World. I love him.
I know you were talking about. I know it, but I don't know his name. I'll have to Google it.
Anyways, yeah.
But I love that. Yes. Okay. So the cauldron's power, like the cauldron is like calling its powers back to itself. And that means Feyre's going back to her body. So as the power goes back, Feyre can see that even without the king, that their army is still losing, that they still need to defeat Hybern's army. And then once Feyre, like the cauldron reaches back to the cauldron and Feyre reaches her body, Amren is slapping her and is like, you stupid girl. Feyre says to Amren, the king is dead and you will be too. And you'll be soon too. Because Feyre thinks Amren betrayed her. But then Amren implies, yes, I know and I need your help. Amren tells Feyre, do not break contact with the cauldron. She is the conduit. Amren explains that the Suriel's message was just for her because it was an unbinding spell. If Amra can get unbound from herself and what she is in this world and use the cauldron's power, then she can wipe out the army. And then there's a male's voice and it's like, no, don't! And it's Varian. And then Feyre's like, we can't, you won't remember us. And Amren says, and I quote, also, there's just so many like, so great. Amren says, and I quote, I watched them for so many eons, humans in my world. So this could be in Crescent City because I do know reading.
Keep reading.
Yes, I do know that there's
this
humans
part. Read
and
this
not
right
humans.
now.
Okay.
Read it right now.
Okay.
This part.
Okay. Humans in my world, they were humans too, and I watched them love and hate, wage senseless war, and find precious peace. Watched them build lives, build worlds. I was never allowed such things. I had never been designed that way, had never been ordered to do so. So I watched, and that day came. It was the first selfish thing I had done. For a long while, I thought it was punishment for disobeying my father's orders for wanting. I thought this world was some hell he locked me to for disobedience. But I think my I wonder if my father knew, if he saw how much I watched them love and hate and build and open that rip in the world, not as a punishment, but as a gift. For it has been a gift, this time with you, with all of you, it has been a gift. And I'm like, oh, Amber, my little Edna mode, just my little heart.
Opened that rip in the world.
Well, I have to get to the end of Crescent City to know, but I do think she did come from Crescent City. I do think so.
Ma'am, it took place in Throne of Glass too.
Oh, that is true. But that was a long further book, and I forgot. And Crescent City is more in my head. But yes, Throne of Glass too.
But the other thing you just said to me was the conduit.
Yes.
That Thera is the conduit. And I have, and it says, a conduit of power. You guys, I feel like that guy who's got the red string all up over the place. And I'm connecting shit that probably ain't got nothing to do with nothing. But Sarah Janelle's the same writer, and she's just using the same material over and over again. Meanwhile, I'm reading into it so hard, but I just can't help it because up until this point, there have been so many things. Oh my gosh, you guys, there's a ghost. Let me stop screaming because my light just knocked over.
Okay. Derek asked, did you help the string person paint too with Feyre?
No, he said, are you huffing paint as well?
Oh, huffing paint. I missed that.
Sorry.
I'm like, what?
Derek, I love it. Don't ever apologize. Continue to be yourself. Love it all the way. No, I love all of these theories because it is very evident that these all the stories are colliding together. It is very evident that they are. So, and then Ammon turns to Varian. Is that how you say his name? Yeah. Ammon turns to Varian and says, and I quote, I watched them most, the humans who loved. I never understood it, how it happened, why it happened. I think I might have learned with you, though. Perhaps that was the last gift, too. Then I thought Amryn really was going to die. And because she didn't, this was less meaningful. But anyways, Amryn gives Feyre the spell and tells her, do not run when she is free, because that will attract her attention. Amryn gets into the cauldron. Feyre says the spell, the cauldron breaks into 3 pieces. Amryn is unbound, and she is light and fire. And I don't remember in Throne of Glass, because I'm trying to remember this, but at least in Crescent City, they have all these different houses, and all these people are in different houses and different things, and I feel like this is one of the houses. Am I right or wrong? Kind of? Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, so the houses, what did you say? Light and fire?
Yes, she was light and fire. But it's okay. I'm going to describe her some more. And so Feyre thinks, and I quote, I could have sworn I saw great burning wings, each feather with a slimmering of ember spread wide. Could have sworn it was a crown of incandescent lights floating above her flaming hair. So she kind of reminds me of Fury. Is that the girl's name in Crescent City? The friend who's an assassin?
Who reminds you of who? Who reminds you of who? Amryn reminds you of Fury Axtar? That's so funny. You should say that. I've been waiting for this moment my entire life, and I just barely met you guys.
So, and the reason why I'm thinking that, spoiler alert for Johnny and Derek, is they haven't read it, because Fury is supposed to be this assassin person thing, and Amryn says she was an assassin earlier on.
Yo.
But I'm only on chapter 6 of Crescent City. There's not much information we got.
The group chat is going to be lit when y'all get into Crescent City. The group chat is going to be lit. You're going to be like, I'm on chapter 14. Did you see da-da-da-da-da? And she's going to be like, I'm on 37. I been saw that. Did you see? And she's going to be like, y'all, I already read the whole series.
Yeah,
I'm on my reread.
I encourage you guys to try to listen to it, Derek. I know it's going to be hard for you. Encourage you to try to listen to it if you can. Okay. And so then Amryn is off, and she's destroying Hybern's army, and she is flying through, and she's burning everything that is in her path. But as she's burning stuff, she's also losing herself. So she's able to do all this, but she is able to burn all the armies, and she's able to go out to the ships, and she is able to burn the last ship. But when she burns the last ship, she is then gone. And the cauldron, remember, it is broken into 3 pieces, and now these 3 pieces are leaking into Prythian. And not only is it leaking, it's growing this vastness that is there. And the only way to stop it is to make the cauldron whole again, to make it anew. Feyre is a conduit. So Rhys tells her, use your powers and make it whole. Feyre remembers the mural that she saw in the spring court. It was the story of the cauldron, this cauldron, and it was held by female hands, like if it flowed through them. And I know right now Feyre is bringing it all together and it's going to be whole, but it did break into 3 pieces. And I'm wondering if the 3 pieces represent the 3 sisters.
3!
Or the
Mother
3
maiden
stories.
crow.
3 faces of the mother.
3 faces of the mother, which are probably, I wouldn't be surprised if 3 faces of the mother is Feyre, Nesta, and Elaine at this point.
That'd be crazy. Also, I want to tap into this was no more than a flame on the breeze. That's what happened to Amren. That's it. That's all I had to say.
Oh, perfect. That is what happened to Amren, and I do think she might be, like I said, Fury or relative. I'm not sure, but yes.
I can't wait till you get to reading so you can find out.
I'll put more and more together. All right. So Feyre grabs hold of the cauldron, and Rhys uses his powers to like flow through Feyre, and it's working, but it's not enough power. She needs more, and so Rhys gives her all he's got, and he whispers, "I love you." And Rhys is still giving his powers, and then he like has a little bit of like a raspy breath, and he says, "I love you" one more time. And now Feyre is using not only his power but her power, because she can't like feel his power anymore. And finally the cauldron is whole again. They did it. Feyre turns around and sees Rhys' lifeless body on the ground. Feyre starts screaming. Everyone comes except Tamlin, or if he does come, he's like way in the back. But she will not leave Rhys' body, not even for like Thiessen to like try to see if he can heal him, bring him back. Then Feyre remembers what the Suriel said, and it said, stay with the High Lord. Stay and live, and everything will be righted. So Feyre can feel the scraps of the mating bond, and she holds on to it the way Rhys held on to it when she passed in the first book. And Feyre looks at the rest of the High Lords and yells, bring him back. You did it for me, now bring him back. Not sure if this will work because Feyre was human when she died. Tarquin comes forward first and gives him a drop of his power. And then the rest of the High Lords follow suit, except for Baron, which Mor has to threaten and say, I can kill one more time today if you don't do this. And so Baron gives him a drop of like his life, his power. Feyre figures out how to do it herself and gives Rhys like a drop of hers, but there is still one High Lord missing, and that is Tamlin. Tamlin is now there, and Feyre begs him, and she's like, I will do anything, just like, please save him. Tamlin tells Feyre to be happy and gives Rhys a drop of his powers. Rhys opens his eyes. Unlike Feyre, Rhys did not get any of the High Lord's powers, unless he's hiding it, and we find out in a later book. Feyre is shocked that Rhys tells her that he's real, but he has another surprise for her. And Rhys is like, can someone get Amren out of the cauldron before she gets sick? Apparently, Amren was in the cauldron, and like as it was sealing itself, and like right before Rhys died, like he like pulled out his hand and she grabbed it. And so, but now she came back, but she is just high fae. She gave up everything to come back. Now the war is over. It is time to say goodbye to Papa Archeron. So the sisters go to his body. Elaine washes his face and combs his hair and beard. And Elaine somehow found flowers and like lays it upon him. Feyre says a prayer, and when she is done, she burns her father, cremating him, and it is carried away with the wind to
That's what
Derek's
I'm saying.
points. Yes. Nessa just stands there. Lucien approaches, and to be fair, Lucien was fighting like at sea this whole time, and he hasn't seen Elaine. So like he comes and like wants to make sure Elaine's safe. He asks Elaine, is she hurt? Elaine says she's fine, but then she asks him the same question back, and he's like, I'm fine. So I do see this love. It's a long way. It's a long way, but I see it.
Size binoculars do you have?
It's there. It's very tiny, but it's there. It's there.
God, I feel more love with Amren in the cauldron.
It's there. Trust me, it's there. Lucien, Elaine, and Feyre all head back to the camp, like where everyone else is, but Nessa stays. They all start talking, and Elaine tells Lucien, oh, you could come back to Valaris. See, I see it. It's slowly. It's very small. Very small. The love that they have for each other right now is just like at 2%. So it has 98% to get there, but it's there
has
slowly.
greater uses for Lucian in that he is the sacrifice. So of course Elaine needs Lucian to come back to Valaris because she done seen the bullshit and she knows he has to go.
Nope, they're endgame. I'm gonna stay
Yeah,
in my
she
little
gonna
boat.
be in
I'm gonna be my
in
little
the game
ship,
too
and
with
it's
him.
sailed. A
And
little
right
ship has
off with
sailed,
Harper
and the
Artron
flag, the
dead.
sail, the
It's
sail.
got a white skull on it and it's
Nope.
black.
The sail says
Jerry,
Elaine and Lucian with the heart.
R.I.P.
Love it. But now it's time for Feyre to meet Draken and Miriam. Turns out a while back that they had some trouble. Miriam decided to hide Crotata, or however you say that island's name, the same way that Rhys hid Valaris, but apparently that spell worked so well that it also kept friends away. So Feyre asks, like, is this island still kept secret? Because they need a place to hide the cauldron, because right now none of the High Lords are paying attention to it, but in 2 seconds they're going to notice it and they're all going to fight over it. So the cauldron needs to disappear. A day later, a meeting is called, and the meeting place is the Archerons' broke down estate. Apparently, like, the sitting room or the dining room is still up, but everything else is broken. The High Lords come, and I'm just noting, like, a few of them. And so Baron comes. He's disgusted that Lucian, is staying by Feyre's side. But I want to quote, Eris strode by, and I could have sworn that there was something like sadness, like regret, as he glanced at Lucian. And so I do think we see like a nicer side in Silver Flames of Eris, or at least one that's not as much of a jerk as his dad. But Draken and Miriam come in with Nefel, and Feyre's like, oh my God, I'm meeting my celebrity hero. Yes. And then Jurian and Grayson appear. Last to arrive is Vassa, because she needs to like turn back into her human self, and it's nighttime.
I have a crazy highlight in here that I have no idea what it means.
Highlight, tell me.
I feel like this description that you're about to tell us, I believe, the one of Vassa turning back into herself, her unbound hair was a reddish gold, thick, dark lashes and brows framing the most stunningly blue eyes I'd ever seen. Beautiful, her freckled skin golden brown and gleaming, only a few years older than me, but young feeling, coltish, fierce and untamed, despite her curse. Vassa said in a lilting accent, are you favorite curse breaker? And my note in the margin is Gwyn from A Court of Silver Flames. I don't know what this means. So somebody remember this when we get...
I will.
I have something to ask about that. Didn't she say she shared an accent with one of the High Lords?
I thought that was Miriam and Draken.
Vassa.
Was it?
Was it?
I don't remember Vassa having an accent, but maybe.
Yeah, it says Vassa said in a lilting accent, are you favorite curse breaker?
I'm gonna be honest, I missed that accent part, so I'm here for it. You
so
tell me who has that
let's
accent.
just keep paying attention
Keep in the
to
back
it
of our mind.
in Silver Frames. Yeah, because I'm sure I have a note in that book for
somewhere.
It,
All right,
I highlighted
Johnny,
it
keep
here
that in the
and I don't
back
know
of
what
your
it
mind
means.
too. That accent, keep it in the back of your mind. I should
only
have a
keep things
pen
in
and
the back of
paper
my
and
mind.
writing it down, and I don't. That's fair. All right. Vassa's like, can you break this curse? And Nessa's like, I'm not sure, but we can try. And Vassa lets it be known that she is going after all the rest of the queens because they're sneaky shades of a bitches. As the meeting starts, Nessa turns to leave, and Feyre's like, why are you leaving? You're the guest of honor. And Nessa's like, so? But she also happens to be holding her carving that her father made. And this is just great foreshadowing that I missed the first time, leading into Frost and Starlight and Silver Flames, about like how much this death really did impact Nessa and like her being able to heal. It is now time to renegotiate the treaty. A world divided was not one that could thrive. And so the meeting goes on, stories are told, and stories are told from the human side, from the Fae side, about how human and Fae can work together. But then there are also stories that are told that are not good about how they can't work together. And so now it is time for those who call Valaris home to go home. They all head there. Nessa barely has spoken a word to anyone. She hasn't visited Cassian. Her family, like Elaine makes a joke and the family's laughing and joking and Nessa is just silent. And again, just more foreshadowing that I personally missed about like how much her father's death meant to her. Lucian will join up in Valaris after he makes a stop, which we all know the stop is to the Spring Court, to Tamlin. And Feyre gives Lucian a note, and the note says, "Thank you, and I hope you find happiness too." And the book says, and I quote, "And I did, not for what he's done for Rhys, but even for an immortal, there was not enough time in life to waste on hatred, on feeling like putting it onto the world." And so I have a long paragraph here because you guys are always like, "Season your team Tamlin, blah, 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 blah." And I just want to say again, Tamlin is a jerk and he's an asshole, but he is not an evil asshole, and he wasn't like born to be evil. And I think that's the difference. Hybern, born to be evil and was an asshole. Tamlin absolutely should pay for his abusive nature. Let me finish, then you can come at me. Tamlin should absolutely pay for his abusive nature and then some. But in today's world where like now it's okay for like men to seek therapy, like I think so many women resonated with this book and so many men did too. I think this is a great way to give Tamlin help. Spoiler, Tamlin doesn't get help because he stays alone at the Spring Court in like the next book or the next 2 books or whatever. But the book leaves it open for him to. Should Feyre forgive him? That's up to her. And if she wants to, maybe she can forgive and not forget. And if she chooses to never speak to him again, she shouldn't have to. That's completely within her right to view so. And if she views him as, and I did throw a Taylor Swift quote in here, as the smallest man who ever lived, again, she is allowed to do that. That's completely up to her. But the biggest win that Feyre could do is walk away, because she walked away a survivor and she walked away knowing that he didn't break her. She found love again. She found family. She found trust. But also the best case scenario is for Tamlin to learn his lesson, to be alone for 500 years with his fiddle in some field. Because if he doesn't learn his lesson, then that means that if he ever were to find love again, he's going to do this exact same shit over again. And none of us want that. We need the cycle to be broken. And in ordinary for the cycle to be broken, Tamlin needs to come to terms with this and he needs to move past it. And he needs to like grow from it. So I'm just saying it's not black and white. There's a gray area. Now come for me. What are you going to say?
Okay, fantastic. My pleasure. No, I'm not going to come for you, but I do have something to say. First, the fuck of all. Let's start with, okay, Tamlin, you went into Hybern to be a spy. Why the fuck could you not communicate that to anybody in Prithian? Why? Why did you have to go and look?
If I was a spy, I would not tell people either.
Hold on. Because what if he actually didn't go as a spy? What if he actually did go, to join...
To defect over.
To join forces with Hybern, and then only when he saw Feyre really fighting for her fucking life did he go, oh, fuck, am I doing the wrong thing? And then helped her out, and that little wind came out of him.
Am I the bad guy?
Like, oh, fuck, was that an epiphany? Was he like, oh my God, let me help her because I think I fucked up again.
Shit.
Wait, am I?
Again.
Yeah.
Am I a piece of shit?
Because why the hell would you not be like, you guys, I'm going to go play the spy.
Because that's too many people. And if Hybern got held, he has people who can read their minds. I'm going to disagree with that.
I think
if Tamlin was anything, even in book 1 and book 2, he did try to protect his court. He did try to again, he's not the best leader.
No.
He's terrible. He needs some training.
But
he never was going to put them in harm's way. That's literally outside of his character.
He did not protect. You got to stop saying that. He did not protect his court. He didn't give a fuck about them. He made that very crystal clear. He wanted what was his. He wanted his little crown. That was it. He didn't care about his people. So he didn't care about his court. You got to care about your people to care about your court. Number 1. Number 2, that's my theory. I'm sticking to it.
To a point.
I think he went to Hybern, self-serving, and then he had an epiphany when he saw Feyre really fighting to save a complete stranger. And he was like, fuck, I am an asshole. Let me help this bitch out for once in my goddamn life. But I don't think he went as a spy at all. I think he changed his mind when he saw her. Anyways, that's
so
my
I'm
two.
gonna disagree with that point only because Feyre saved the
Because
water
you love
reef
Tamlin.
or
Because
whatever
you
in
love
front of
him.
him. No, I don't love Tamlin, but Feyre saved a complete person. She didn't know the water reef, and then she saved the children, even though the children did end up dying. Like, she did save the children from the cousins or the sisters, the Cersei and Jaime people. So that's not outside of her character to have saved this one stranger. And I do agree with you. Talon did do shit for himself and all
The
this stuff.
stakes
So
are
you do
higher
have
now,
a point
though.
there. I will
The
give it
stakes
to
are
you.
higher now.
But Talon is not evil to be evil. He just needs to learn.
Oh, okay.
Hybern is
So-
evil to be evil. Like Hybern's evil to be evil, but he's not evil to be evil. What was Maeve was evil to be evil.
Yeah. I wanted to point something out in
Go
here
ahead.
about the cauldron.
Go ahead, tell us.
Sorry, that's fine.
But I love that we disagree. I love that we can agree to disagree. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. You know,
there's
totally.
no agreeing.
It said, including that thing behind us, that hole, the cauldron could never be destroyed. We had been warned because our very world was bound to it. If the cauldron were destroyed, we would be too. You guys
Yes.
bound to it. It is holding worlds. The rip in the world. All things come out of the cauldron. Oh my gosh. Keep that in your little million too. Okay,
I
that's it.
am.
That's all I have.
I can't wait to. That's clearly a Crescent City reference. I cannot wait to get to that Crescent City.
I don't know. Maybe.
All right. Well, now that we all had our disagreements, back to the book.
We didn't
So-
finish.
Oh, we're almost. Like, there's like 5 paragraphs left. Yeah. Nessa goes to her room. Elaine and Nessa like agree that whenever she's ready to talk about their father, that they will be ready for her. So again, foreshadowing for Silver Flames. Then we get a Reese chapter, which honestly was the most unuseless, not needed chapter ever, because it's pretty much he's just saying how happy he is for his family. You could have said that shit through the bond through Feyre, and we would have gotten the same stuff. But anyways, later on the roof, Feyre surprises Reese with that little red lingerie number that they joked about in Mist and Fury. Reese tells Feyre that he heard her when she was calling to him, like when he was dead. Feyre tells Reese that never to lie to her again, not about death, not about that. But we'll talk about this later when she has her baby, because he fucking did lie to her again about that. But we will talk about that in Silver Flames. And then Feyre says, when it is time, we'll go together. And Reese says, it's a bargain. The dumbest fucking bargain either of them could ever fucking make. But they go ahead and get a tattoo, and it's a deal.
But fated
because
fucking
it's
lover.
not like both of them didn't see their son.
Right.
It's not like both of them did not see their son. Also, it's nice to note that Bryaxis is still missing. They'll have to hunt for her later. Feyre grows wings, and then she goes and flies with Reese. And we all know she does more than flying with those wings, but we can get into that in a later chapter in Silver Flames. Or maybe in Frost and Starlight. When do we find out that the baby's like not positioned right? Silver Flames?
I think it's
I think it's Silver.
Yeah, we'll discuss it then. End of book.
I feel like Reese's chapter was the foreshadowing for Feyre being pregnant.
Oh, I mean, maybe.
Okay.
Wow.
He just
I
wants
just
a
want
family,
to point
which
out.
is not a secret.
I just want to point out that Season feels about Reese's chapter how the rest of us feel about Frost and Starlight. Just want to point that out.
No.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. We all can have our opinions on it.
Can we do one episode dedicated to the whole book?
We're going to do 2
Yeah.
because I just don't have time for that. But that's why I broke it into 2. They'll be
Okay,
short
we'll see if our
episodes.
schedule
More-
allows for it.
Yeah.
I have more crashing out about Tamlin.
Do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's crash out about Tamlin. Go ahead, girl.
Okay. I know you're saying that he's just a girl and he needs to learn and blah, 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 blah. I just remembered.
Well, he needs to learn to
that-
break the cycle.
Okay, let me finish.
Get it cooked.
Okay, you're right.
I just remembered that he didn't destroy Reese's parents' wings. He kept them. And we discovered that later. So that motherfucker's evil. I don't care. He straight up lied and said, I destroyed those wings. No, you didn't, bruh.
Okay.
Why would you have said that? But what?
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you, but that situation was man against man, destroying family against family. Like, that has nothing to do with Farah.
Why did he? But
So
why
he
does
lied,
he
but like that whole situation had nothing to do with her.
Why does he continuously lie? Unnecessarily lie.
But like, because he doesn't know that she knows the real truth. Okay, he doesn't know that she knows the real truth of what happened. And again, we came for your parents and killed your parents. Really, it was his dad who did it. And then Reese's dad retaliated, and Reese's dad's the one that did it. Like, it was like dad and dad went against each other. They brought their sons along, and like the sons are like now figuring out what happened because the two dads killed each other's people or family or whatnot. Like, I'm not this is like that has nothing to do with
I think
Farah.
what she's trying to say
Reese is
is
equally
that
as guilty in that.
No.
He killed Reese
No,
killed
no,
his
no,
brothers.
no,
Like, Reese is
no.
equally as guilty in that.
No. Reese does not have a pattern of behavior.
Yeah.
It wasn't okay.
It is a pattern of behavior. He just keeps doing fucking wild shit after wild shit.
All I'm saying is I want Tamlin to break the cycle, right? He didn't have the best relationship with his dad. There was all this stuff. And the only way for him to break the cycle, because let's just say he has a kid. We need the cycle to break. This is the perfect opportunity for him to break that cycle and like show growth and be like, if he were to ever love again, because what we're saying is if he ever were to love again, he's going to do this to another woman, another female. And that's not fair. We just put another woman into a situation. Like, the only way for him to grow from this and to break the cycle, if he were to have kids, is to get therapy and sit in a corner somewhere for 500 years.
Did you recently watch or read It Ends With Us?
I read it. That was a terrible.
Like, recently?
I have so many issues with It Ends With Us, but yes.
Did you watch
I
and
refuse
read
to
it
read this
recently?
I did both. It was a terrible.
It feels like this. Let me say something to you.
Mm-hmm.
There's something deep in this conversation where this is coming from a personality perspective for you. I haven't unlocked it yet, but there's something why you're holding on to this so deeply from a fictional character that's trash.
You can't save these hoes. You can't save them.
There's a reason you're latching onto this. And I think once we understand that piece of the puzzle a little bit better, this will make more sense. Because I think you know and agree that Tamlin is trash. However,
I'm not saying he's not trash. That's my whole point. He's absolutely trash.
However,
I'm not saying he's not trash.
You want him to be redeemed because he's not a bad guy.
No, he doesn't need to be redeemed. This is as good as he needs to be redeemed. He gave Reese his life and is done.
Yeah, there's
honestly, he is gonna die. There's like trigger warnings. There's like a suicide mention either in Frost and Starlight or Silver Flames. And I do think if he dies, that is the next best way that Elaine is gonna be High Lady of the Spring Court, because he has no children or mate to pass the power to, so the power would just naturally pick her, I think, at that point. All I'm saying is, you know how, like, there's all these pictures, and normally it's with moms. Normally it's, like, with moms. But they have, like, the water glass, and they, like, pour the water, and it's, like, really dirty. And then they, like, pour the glass, and they pour the glass, and they pour the glass. And they're pretty much like, just because your mom did this to you and you were raised this way, don't do that to your kid, right? Like, break the cycle. It's the same mentality for Tamlin. Like, if he doesn't break the cycle, he's just going to continue.
Nesta's just as trash of a person.
Nesta's my favorite character because I resonate with Nesta so much. My own personal self.
Okay, but also, how many opportunities did Tamlin already have to break cycles? Countless amounts. And he refuses to. So at what point do we go, oh, he just needs to redeem himself. He just needs to. How many times, how many opportunities are you going to give somebody to break your heart? How many times? How many second chances does this motherfucker get?
I'm gonna be honest. I have nothing to say to that, Jody. That's a very great point. I literally have nothing to say to that.
Listen, I spent
Why
some
you have to
time
say
in
that?
therapy. I know what I'm talking about.
She said,
I
how many
know.
times you gonna let him break your heart? That's
I
what
have
it
nothing to say
is.
to that.
Oh
That's
my
fair.
God. I felt it. I
That's
felt
fair.
it
That's
for
fair.
you.
That's fair.
Susie, come give
You
me,
can
give me
love
a hug.
Tamlin if you want
Yeah.
to.
I don't love Tamlin. Oh my
I'm
God.
just playing.
I'm
just
just
playing.
saying. I'm just saying he needs to break the cycle. That's all I'm saying.
It's just
Yeah,
so
he
funny to
does.
Right,
make
he
fun
does.
He
of
does,
you
but he
for it.
can't.
Because
Mhm.
you're not the only person in the entire Mossverse. You're not even a person. But there's so many people in the Mossverse who are like, Tamlin is fine. He's a good, you know what I'm saying? There's people like that actually feel that
No,
way.
he's
We're
not a
not
good
saying-
guy. He's not. I want to be
Well,
clear. I'm
we're
not
not
on
saying-
that bandwagon. I want him just
But it's
to
just
like
funny.
break the cycle and learn. That's all.
Yeah,
That's
What's your
that's the
sassy
thing.
topic?
Yeah.
Was that
That's
the
the
sassy
thing that
topic?
I
Yeah. Good job, Andrea. So yes, sassy topic. Sassy topic, because I think Amryn and Reese, or one of them or both of them, should have died. But anyways, how does this story challenge the necessity of casualties? Does Perinthian really have is picking a side to win?
Wait a minute. Say it again.
Mm-hmm.
what?
How does the story, or how does this book, or how does Sarah J. Maas challenge the idea of necessity, the necessity of casualties? Does this mean that because Perinthian was the good side, that there's a right side, and those people would win? Does that make sense?
I'm not sure that she does challenge it very well, because so far the good guys haven't really lost anybody. We haven't really had any major casualties
you.
outside of random characters. So we're not getting enough George R.R. Martin. We're not getting enough death to really challenge the plot. And that's why we need half of the characters to die in the next book. Cassian, Lucian.
We don't know about half the characters. But
Okay, let's pump the brakes a little bit.
I agree with you, Derek. I do agree with you, because there is no reason that Amryn and Reese should have came back. If anything, Reese was more important to the plot. Reese should have just gotten hurt really badly, but Amryn should have been dead. And this is actually across all her books. So in Throne of Glass, there was a war,
Same thing.
and all of the main characters came back and were fine and didn't die. They fucking had a pregnant woman out there, and her and her baby just survived, no problem. What? And then same thing here. There's a war, and Papa Archeron and a few Illyrians that we never met in our life, died.
Right.
That's not, you know what I mean? And to
It's
bring
not major
Hamilton,
plot.
into this is death doesn't discriminate. It just takes and take. And it's that is the one thing about Sarah J. Maas. She does not kill off her characters. And there is no reason that both of them came back to life. One of them should have died. Because
I have something to say about that, because what I've learned, I'll just put personal stuff out there. What I've learned from therapy is that sometimes parts of you die and you're reborn. You find yourself and you become somebody else. Like Amryn, her beast mode, her monster is dead, and she's reborn into something else. Now she gets to live her life how she wants to, how she's truly meant to live her life.
I like that too.
And the same goes with Tamlin. Maybe Tamlin needs to
Die.
needs to die to be born again and really fucking be this guy that you want him to be, that he's not. You know, I think rebirth in the Maas universe is really big, and that's why there's not many deaths. There's just rebirth.
okay, I'll give you that, but
That's
then
a
I'm just
central
gonna go
theme
with
across the entire Moss.
I'll give you that, but it's clear that Cassian or someone else is gonna die. It is. It's clear that another important character is gonna die, and my whole point in this is, then are we bringing them back? Because we just gone and fucking brought everybody else back.
Let me say this.
Honestly, Feyre's the only person who should have been brought back to life with the High Lords. At this point, Vivian loves Cleus. If he dies, why aren't we bringing him back? you know, if Helion dies or whatever, and we haven't made Lucian, like, I think it leaves it for, like, then that means no one should die because they all should be saving each other. So I just think that, like, you know, Sarah J's Maas does such a great job about us connecting on so many other levels, but then, like, refuses to kill people off. And I agree, like, people need to let them die.
I don't think she does a good job of writing death.
I would have cried more if Amren stayed dead. Like, her last speech, perfect.
Yeah,
she did not
and
need
the people
to be back in
that do
cauldron.
stay dead, it's not as impactful when they die.
Yeah, and all the dads die because other dude's dad died in Throne of Glass. Forgot his name because I was terrible with all the names. Like, let's bring the dad who's like, what? Like we just kill all non-essential characters.
Maybe that,
but I just
maybe
don't
that's
think
Sarah
they're
Maas's trauma.
Maybe okay, I'll give that to you. I'll give that to you.
Maybe that's our trauma. We just expect people, really important people, to die and be fucking devastated and heartbroken. Like, this is the world we've always been fed in movies, in TV shows. Everybody we love fucking dies, and maybe that's Maas telling us you don't have to lose everybody you love.
I love that. I love that. All right, it is a little late, so just a few more things really quickly. I just have some questions. Now that we know all the High Lords have their beast, I mean, we already knew the High Lords had their beast, but like we saw like Rhys and Helions. Does this mean the High Ladies have a beast form, and what's Feyre's beast form?
Do we ever find out from the Ouroboros? Wouldn't that be?
No, that's everybody sees the part of the Ouroboros is you see your like worst self.
No, I don't think she does.
I don't think. Do we know what happened to the king's body?
The king is dead?
Yeah, the king of Hybern.
I don't feel like I know what happened.
No, but my point is, we know what happened to his body because Amarantha kept Jurian alive for all these years with an eye and a bone. Like, is someone gonna? They burned the dad. Yeah. So like, what if yeah, they burned the dad. So like, what if
allegedly, the Phantom Wind carrying ashes off to the bone quarter?
I don't know, but I feel like we're gonna need a new villain. So the King of Hybern can't be the one to come back as the same villain. We need a new villain, I would imagine.
Okay, really quickly before we head out, just a little notes about next 2 books. And so since the next book is essentially fluff, I am gonna try to keep the summaries down to like less than 15 minutes, and we'll use the remaining time to talk about like characters, character development, theories, that type of jazz, because at this point you either read Frost and Starlight or you didn't. And the same thing for Silver Flames. I love Silver Flames, and Silver Flames is literally my favorite book. I resonate with Nessa so much. However, a lot of that book, a lot of the shit's repeated. So
yeah,
I feel like we're gonna, kind of run into that. So I'm just gonna try and experiment and see if we can keep recaps until 15, 20 minutes or less, and then use the rest of the time to theorize, chat about character development, talk about the spice scenes in Silver Flames. Yes, and bring in Crescent City. So just note for the next 2 books that we're gonna try to do that. Alrighty, everyone?
You can't wait.
All right. Well, bye.
Bye.